Okay, so this chapter 16, has been about the Benoni and the way it can truly express its in his entire self. So we've been speaking most recently in this chapter about the emotions that need to be a part of the actions, although they should not stop the actions. If I don't feel like doing a mitzvah, I should still do it. But for the Benoni, those emotions, we call them wings, the wings of love and of awe, lift the Benoni and connect him, make him one with the heavens, so to speak. Now, the Benoni is fully aligned with his emotions, with those wings, and aligned with what also propels those wings. Now, there are many things that propel them. First of all, things that come from the Benoni himself. Meditation can propel emotions, but also things from the upper worlds, as we've been studying now, as of late, different angels. Angels that are angels of love or kindness, like the angel Michael, or angels that are angels of awe, like the angel Gabriel. And by propelling those wings, so to speak, those angels are also activated and drawn down to fulfill their mission through the Benoni, through the work of the Benoni. And this is what we're speaking about. Mainly, again, that the Benoni knows that he lives, doesn't just feel it, but he really knows it, that he lives, as we all do, a multi-dimensional life, at least a, a bi-dimensional life, in which we are connected to the heavens, and the heavens are connected to us. And by doing a mitzvah, we draw down the lights from the heavens to this world through that mitzvah and through us. So the more we are immersed in that mitzvah, the more the heavens line up with us. And this is really the big idea here that we've studied towards the end of this chapter 16. But let's continue, as you mentioned, Margot, top of page 79. Does anyone want to read? Anyone?
I'll go ahead if nobody else
Please.
wants to.
Okay, yes, please, Margot, go for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
The commandment, as mentioned, is an act performed in the physical asiyah. By giving charity, we transfer something from one level to another. The commandment of lulav, one of the four species taken on the holiday of Sukkot, entails taking certain leafy branches, binding them together, and shaking them back and forth. Other than rearranging objects in the physical world, we do not appear to be doing much. And truthfully, as long as the soul's higher potential is uninvolved, there is no impact beyond the material world. The commandment remains below in the physical world of Asiya. Yet when a spiritual element is introduced with heaven-directed feelings and cognizance, the commandment assumes significance and rises to a higher level.
Right. Again, so when we activate those wings, those emotions of love and awe, then we are also awakening the heavens, so to speak, to align with us. It's funny that Rabbi Schnauz mentions the commandment of lulav, which is coming up. And if you haven't ordered your lulav, you can still order your lulav today through CBT. But it's a commandment that seems very simple. It's maybe the easiest commandment or one of the easiest commandments. And if we do it just technically, robotically, then fine. It's a mitzvah that has been performed here in this world and it creates some type of holiness. But when we have the intentions of really, and particularly with this mitzvah here, of connecting this mitzvah to the highest of heavens, because in many ways, the mitzvah of lulav represents that best. And I believe this is why Rabbi Steinsaltz picked this mitzvah, because mitzvah of lulav takes elements from this earth, right? The items themselves are very, very earthly. It's another word for it. The lulav is from a palm tree. The willow is part of the willow tree. The myrtle is part of the myrtle bush, and the etrog is from a very unique type of citrus tree. So you are literally taking this earth and shaking it. But by taking this earth and shaking it to the four corners of the world, what you are saying is that God exists in the earth of the four corners of this world. That's part of the reason we shake the lulav to the four corners of this world. So what we are trying to do through the mitzvah of lulav is to take the highest of heavens, God Himself, and draw Him down to the earth that exists in the four corners of the world. on the six corners, because we also go up and down, the six corners of the world, or so to speak, six angles of the world. And if we have that in mind, just imagine, if you have that in mind, that while you are shaking this lulav, you're drawing down godliness to the earth that is around you in all six angles, then you've actually activated the heavens. If you're doing it just robotically, fine, you did a mitzvah because you say Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. Something happened, something good happened, no doubt. But if you have activated your wings, you've also activated the heavens themselves. A similar story that really explains this. It's a story very much connected to Yom Kippur. It's a story for some reason that has become very, very famous. Maybe one of the more famous stories of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement. But apparently on a Yom Kippur, he saw what many could not see as a holy man. He saw that there were terrible decrees, and his face expressed that feeling of anguish and sadness. And many tried to do all sorts of things during the prayer in his synagogue, and no one was able to really annul those decrees and erase that sense of anguish that the Baal Shem Tov was overcome with. Until in the middle of the service, a young shepherd or young farmer came from the fields. He walks into the synagogue, and he doesn't really know how to pray. He holds a book and he holds it upside down. But he sees that everyone is praying, so he too wants to connect to the heavens. So what does he do? He makes a sound that he would make in the farm, maybe a sound that he learned from the roosters themselves. And he makes that cuckoo sound. You may know the story. And when he made it, all of his peers try to shut him down. Hey, this is Yom Kippur, the holiest day. Why are you making sounds like this? And the Baal Shem Tov said, no, no, no. Let him sing it. And he sang the cocorico sound for quite a while until the Baal Shem Tov's anguish was completely erased from his face. And then he explains to his Hasidim that that cry of cocorico that came from the depth of the heart of this farmer that is so pure and so innocent was able to rise all the way to the heavens and delete now all of the bad decrees that I saw were pending on the Jewish people. And that's what this means. It's true, particularly in prayer. Are we just praying robotically? Are we really connecting to the heavens? Are we going from saying those words from the depths of our hearts and recognizing that there's a God in heaven that we have to connect to, that we can pray to, that listens to us if we can only really activate our emotions to connect with Him. So that's the idea here. But again, we can do this with every mitzvah, and the more earthly the mitzvah is, like lulav, the greater that light that can descend to the lowliest levels. And that's really what it's all about. That's what the Beinoni, again, is cognizant of all the time. That's why he doesn't take any mitzvah lightly. Okay, we can continue, but please feel free to share your thoughts, your comments, anything. You can unmute yourselves because I see most of you are muted. But otherwise, we'll continue.
The version I heard is the shepherd
Yes,
played
please,
a flute.
William. What? Sorry?
The version I heard is the shepherd played a flute.
Right. There's another story like that, apparently, or maybe it's the same one. A shepherd took out his flute, the flute that he would use to gather all the sheep. Yeah, exactly. There are some great stories, but yeah, there's some great stories about that innocence of the purity of the heart that really goes all the way to the heavens. It doesn't matter whether you have it right or not. But the reason for that is because you've activated your wings when you do that. There's another great story. I mean, there are many stories about the Baal Shem Tov in that vein. But the story about how someone did not know really how to pray. And he would pray the entire Siddur. As you know, every prayer book has the morning service, the afternoon service, the evening service, and other services. But one of the people who lived during the times of the Baal Shem Tov came to the Baal Shem Tov shul, and he saw everyone praying, and he decided to take a book and also pray. But he didn't just pray the morning service like everyone was praying at that time. He prayed the whole thing because he didn't know better. And he would pray the whole thing every day. until a student noticed, hey, you staying after everybody and you're praying, you say all the prayers of the siddur. Let me teach you how to pray. And he told him where morning was, where afternoon was, where the evening service was. And the next day, the Baal Shem Tov came to the synagogue and he said, there's something here different, something that's not adding up. And I want to know what it is. Why aren't our prayers really ascending to the highest of heavens? And they investigated and they discovered that this Jew who prayed with all his heart, the entire book, um, learned how to pray finally. And the Baal Shem Tov said to him, you know what? Forget those bookmarks. Forget everything that you learned. Just keep praying like you were praying before, because those prayers lifted all of our prayers to the highest of heaven. So you see, so you have stories like that, many stories like that. There's a cute story also, speaking of Yom Kippur, that in the middle of prayer, the Baal Shem Tov, it's a tricky story, but still, that makes the same point. The Baal Shem Tov left his synagogue, and which was, of course, not customary of the Baal Shem Tov, who would stay in the synagogue, as we all do, most of us do, the entire day on Yom Kippur. But in the middle of the day, he leaves the synagogue, and he goes and joins the synagogue of the thieves. There was a synagogue of thieves in that town that no one wanted to pray with, but the Baal Shem Tov himself went and joined them and remained there until the end of Yom Kippur. And at the end, they asked him, Baal Shem Tov, why did you join these thieves? You know, we all know they're thieves. We all know they're corrupt. Why join their synagogue? And the Baal Shem Tov very sharply responded, because when I came to my synagogue, I saw that we were trying to pray and unlock all of the gates of the heavens, but nothing was working. So I said to myself, the thieves know how to break gates open. They know how to unlock. Legally or illegally, they know how to do it. So I went and I prayed with them, and lo and behold, they were able to break all the gates of the heavens open. But which means that, you know, even if you see yourself as low, but you have that purity of heart, you can still break the gates of the heavens open. Something that people who are more like robots can't do, even though they may be checking all the boxes. And that's the idea here. So activating those wings. And that really ascends to the highest of heavens. I know that Rabbi Steinsaltz would sometimes make comments when he walk into synagogues. When he would walk into synagogues, I've been with him many times in synagogues, and sometimes he would make the comment that I feel like this, the ceiling of the synagogue is very stuffy. So the automatic question was, stuffy with what? And he would say stuffy with prayers. A lot of prayers leave our mouths and they get stuck in the roof. They don't really ascend any higher, get stuck in the ceiling. But that's true, because they're robotic. Where are the prayers of the heart that really can ascend all the way? That's that the Beinonis know how to do, and we should know how to do too. Anyhow, so that's the idea. But let's continue. When love and awe, unless there's more comments. Okay, so let's continue. When love
When love and awe are more than intellectualizations and a full awareness awakens real emotions, then the soul's energies, the interaction of intellectual awe and love, the fusion of intellect and feeling, lift the commandment to the world of Bria. For this reason, good thought, which is unable to connect to deed without God's uniting force, elevates the commandment to Bria, the world of intelligence.
Right. So we spoke about in the previous page we spoke about the four worlds, and again the prayers, in order for them to ascend all the way to the throne of glory, then where God's main presence is, then they have to ascend first four worlds. So you have this world, which is the world of action. The next world is the world of angels, which is the world of Yetzirah, of formation. And by the way, according to Kabbalah, many of our prayers do ascend to the world of formation, but then the angels can sift through them. And many angels, that's their task, to sift through the prayers and say, well, this prayer came with a real heart, so I'm going to bring it to the next level. Almost like secretaries, right? In any CEO's office or in the president's office or whatever it may be. that they sift through letters. Oh, this letter is deserving of the attention of the CEO, so I'm going to pass it on. If not, then I'll leave it right here. So these prayers are sifted by the angels. And by the way, this is also the reason why many prayers are in Aramaic, because by saying prayers in Aramaic, at least some of them, we want to trick the angels. How so? Angels don't understand Aramaic. They only understand Hebrew, the divine language. So when they receive an Aramaic prayer, they don't know what to do with it. They have to pass it up to make it go forward.
So, Rabbi, do they
Yes.
understand English?
That's a good question. Probably not. You see, you can trick the angels by saying some of the prayers in English, especially if those come from the heart again. But so they sift through them, and then you have the Olam Briya, which is what we're speaking about, the world of creation here, which is the world where our souls come from. And it's a world with only good. The world of formation, you have bad angels, so it's not only good. But still, those are the prayers of the soul, right? They ascend to the root of the soul, which is in the Olam Briya, in the world of creation. But still, you have higher worlds than that. You have the world of emanation, and then you have really the source of it all, the throne of glory. So those unique prayers that really came from the heart, from the soul, and that are also, I would say, didn't just come from the heart and the soul, but let's also just fine-tune that by saying that these prayers are also egoless. See, ego is a blockage for prayers. They are egoless. They're not there just for my self-interest. God, I want $1 million just to enrich myself, whatever it may be. But they are there really for you to be able to serve. God, I want this because that's going to help me serve my greater purpose, your purpose here in this world. And sometimes it's a want, and sometimes it's just a praise of God. Wow, God, you're so great. Or a prayer of gratitude. The more egoless they are, the more chances they have to ascend really higher and higher, because in the highest of worlds, there is no ego. It's only God. Ein od milvado. It's nothing but God. So if it's completely aligned with your God purpose, then your prayer ascends. If it's egotistic, it's stuck. It's like the story. I was told this story a few years ago, but I was just thinking about it this week for some reason. But it has it's a simple story, but a lot to learn from. I remember that a friend of mine told me that he lives in Los Angeles, and one day he saw a truck, an 18-wheeler, that forgot the massive height that it had, and the truck driver went driving right into a bridge that was too low for the truck, and the truck got stuck. And then came the experts trying to rescue the truck, and they came with towing cars and all sorts of things, and no one was able to. The truck had gone right through the cement of the bridge, and it was too difficult. And then the little boy apparently came by, and he's watching everyone trying to figure out how to do this, and he had the brilliant idea. See, sometimes children are so innocent that they think without ego. And the idea was, hey guys, why don't you deflate the tires? If you deflate the tires, you'll be able to tow the truck out, which is what they did. And the truck was rescued as well as the traffic. And it's a powerful story because it reminds us exactly of that. Sometimes, we get stuck and we think that it's the whole world to blame. But maybe you should just deflate your ego a little bit. Deflate your tires. And then you'll be able to drive life smoothly. But those are the prayers, again, that ascend. They're not ego-based. You gotta ascend to God with deflated tires. Doesn't work otherwise. And that's really, so it's the heart, the wings, the love and the awe, and together with this selflessness that makes our prayers ascend.